Welcome to the Crispy Ear Podcast. My name is Ellie Kerr, in association with Merseyside Women of the Year, and today I am joined by Afrah Qassim, the CEO and founder of Savera UK, and I'm very excited to welcome you, Afrah.
Thank you,
Thank
Ellie.
you so much for coming today. Now, you are a bit of an anomaly, really, aren't you? Because you have won 2 Merseyside Women of the Year awards, haven't you?
Yes.
So one in 2012, and
Yes.
we'll put a little bit of context around that in a sec, and then again in 2022.
Yeah.
And I think you are a bit of a unicorn because no one else has ever done that.
Oh, wow.
So in 2012, there was just you and Savera. And then fast forward to 22 because you won the Humanitarian Award.
In 2012. Yeah.
And then in 2022, it was the Woman of Courage.
Yep.
So I just wanted you to sort of pick up on. So people go, how come you've won 2 awards? But here we are in 2026. And when you won in 22, you'd gone from 1 yourself to a team of
13.
Oh, wow. So again, what the judging panel looked at was in 2012, it was you.
Yeah.
And then 2022, here you are making such a difference. Yeah. Not just in our city, but right across it's everywhere, isn't it? It's the whole country.
Yes.
With Savera.
Yeah, so I think it was when we set it up, it was just Savera Liverpool, because it was just within the area of Liverpool. And then as we grow, I think it was 2018 where we rebranded from Savera Liverpool to Savera UK. So we became a national organisation working around, and our mission is to end honour-based abuse and harmful practices. Yeah.
And you do that in all kinds of ways. How is it what policies and what do you affect now?
So just to give you a bit of context in terms of the background to Savera UK. So Savera UK is a national specialist charity that work to end honour-based abuse and harmful practices. And that through working with survivors and those who are experiencing or at risk of honour-based abuse. And what we mean by honour-based abuse is like child marriage, forced marriage, female genital mutilation, conversion therapy, or any other harmful practices like spiritual abuse, or abuse where families may disapprove of that individual if they're not following the values of their family culture or belief or whatever that reason, and they will coercively control them, do things against their will, force them into a marriage or that. So, and some of them come to us for help, for advice, or to escape that abusive environment. We also campaign through our education, through our training, through our community engagement and policy change. So we'll work with organisations. So, for example, just within Merseyside, part of our work is developing and supporting local authorities and the other plus policy change of developing our what they call honour-based abuse and harmful practices protocol, and that is across all statutory sector to support professional of how to respond to those safeguarding. So in that kind of way, but we also participate and influence the national government or partners to work together. So currently we're working with sector partners and the government to develop a definition that will explain better honour-based abuse and honour-based abuse definition.
That is a lot.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That, but also from a context perspective, it's all the different layers, isn't it? Because I'm assuming, so if we go back to 2012, it wasn't really very much known about it. There wasn't anything sort of like from a professional training or... So for you then to have to... All that is, I would assume, unknown territory, and you've had to build build it up?
Yeah, so how did that come about is my background. I was working within the NHS as a community development officer, and my lead was women, children, young people at that time, and it was around inequalities and mental health. And I'm really passionate, particularly around young women, coming from a diverse background where in some occasions, there is some kind of that patriarchy within how women behave or young girls behave, and the conservatives behind it. I come from Yemen, my background. So I came here as a 16-year-old, didn't speak any English, had to learn English and practice. My mother or my stepmother is from an Irish background. So in terms of having to kind of navigate the system, navigate the culture changes and the shock from a young girl coming from a very conservative country to an open air country, despite all my upbringing, was really positive. And, having the opportunities to learn, having the opportunity to understand, but I also had to kind of navigate our new culture, particularly within my own community, which is the Yemeni community, where I've seen some conservative kind of practices where, again, a girl behave in a certain ways. But in terms of my I wanted to make something different. I wanted to really kind of build something and see, okay, what's the opportunities there? But I also wanted to look at domestic abuse, and particularly within the black and minority communities, and what's the impact of domestic abuse on mental health. So through my role in community engagement, with both professional and the community, I were able to identify a lot of gaps. And one gap is there was no data to recognise the number of cases that might have been referred, particularly from those specific those communities. But also there is no data around percent of honor-based abuse or forced marriage or female genital mutilation, and that's not just locally but also nationally.
Because what they say, if you haven't got the data, you can't measure it, can you?
No, definitely not. And that's where when we set up Savera UK at that time, we set it in 2010. But it took us over 6 years to get our first appropriate funding to allow us to really recruit a small, very, very small team to start the service, because without it, before that, it was just myself who done it all and really running it alongside my full-time job within NHS.
Wow.
So I used my holidays and my flexi time to when we I used to go and train professional or engage with communities, or sometimes even sit in a safeguarding meeting to support professional when there may be kind of case of a forced marriage or a risk of honor-based abuse, and how we can kind of safety plan those individuals. So we were really, really lucky after 6 years of trying to find somebody to believe in us. And likely there was a specific funding through the big lottery, which called Violence Against Women and Girls Initiative, that we applied for. I really didn't have any hope at that time, because I was wanted to give up after 6 years trying to apply, and we just couldn't. And then thought we'll give it another go. So myself and some of our board members, we kind of applied for it, and we were successful. And the biggest success for us, it was we were one of the 60 organisation who was successful in that 3 years funding, and it was out of 500 applications. So I feel like that was our time. And since then I haven't looked back. And we've just come from strength to strength, you know.
But when you said before, I was lucky, and truly, you know, you make your own luck. I mean, the tenacity and the passion that you have. I mean, obviously, you know, we've kept in touch, haven't we? Especially since 2012. That's not luck. That is pure, as I say, tenacity and wanting to make a difference for the community. And I know you don't just deal with women anymore, do you? It's to be all inclusive, but especially the passion you have for women and ensuring that, you know, they get the best and that they do the best, they can be the best versions of themselves. Yeah. But for me, watching your growth and because it is really easy to give up, isn't it? Yeah, you could have just given up.
Oh yeah,
because I know, sort of like, for reading, you know, your story and whatever, you had two really good. I mean, your dad especially and your grandma. Yeah, they were two cheerleaders for you.
Yeah, my both particularly. I mean, my stepmother is also one of them. So my father and my mother, but I think my grandmother has always been my heroine since a very young age. I remember when I was around 11, my auntie was in Yemen. My auntie wanted me to marry my cousin.
Oh wow.
And I was just sitting there playing with my other friends, and I heard that my auntie has asked me to get married, and then when we decided to move to the UK, because I was my father was, you know, my main carer, and my mother said, my grandmother says, you know, what's going to happen to Afrah then, and there wasn't, and my auntie was trying to persuade my father to keep me behind. Wow. Saying, you know, her grandmother needs to be looked after, and you know, she's going to marry my son. So my grandmother stepped in and she said, I do not want anyone to be look after. She's his child, and she's always dreamt to be like her father. So I want her you take your daughter and go and give her the education she wanted. So that's always stuck with me. Remembering my grandmother.
Oh.
So she's always been special.
But that's what you've done for other women. Oh, it is. When you think, it is funny, isn't it, when you think back? Yeah. It is, but that's what you've done for others.
Yes.
And I think it's that pay it forward, and that when you have somebody that believes in you that much, that thinks, actually, do you know what? Yeah, I'm selfless. Yeah. I'm not going to be selfish. I'm going to let you go. You know, and that's what you do for the women that you, and the community that you serve, because I know it's not just women.
Yeah. So you know, it's always, I think, your upbringing also give you that I've always been determined to make a difference, regardless of how big or how small it is. I've always, it's just the way I've been brought up since I know myself. So is to help others and to do something, you know, in this world. And I think it just the way my father, it's my stepmother, as I said, my grandson, we've always been a family of caring, a family of wanted to make something different. And I think that's what I wanted to do with Savera UK. The meaning of Savera is new beginning, is new horizon, and I wanted to give what I had, the opportunity that my father's allowed me. As I said, I could have been married at the age of 11 if it wasn't for my grandmother and my father, who stood strong to support me, and I've seen close friends and family members who has gone through this. So it's not just because it just happened I'm doing it. It's because of I've seen it in my community, I've seen it in my family, and I wanted to see what I can do to help someone else. And yes, we started the organization with women only, but now our organization is very inclusive to support anybody who's at risk or experiencing honour-based abuse and harmful practices, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of sexuality or background or ethnicity. Abuse is abuse, and nobody can kind of support that kind of abuse, and we have to stand against it. And my aim is also, I am really proud of where I come from, my background, my culture, and celebrate it in every way. And even part of that is supporting my father in who established the Liverpool Arab Art Festival, which is the festival that celebrates the Arab culture and the Arab heritage. So for us, identity is so important, and the important for our organisation is to differentiate the difference between culture that is beautiful, that bring unity, bring identity, cohesion, celebration, whereas abuse is abuse. So we're trying to kind of say do not use culture as an excuse for abuse. Abuse is, we should stand for it, we should stand together against it and do everything that we can to help the person who's maybe at risk or under threat of abuse. So that's the aim, and that's our vision in terms of the organisation, is having a world without honour-based abuse and harmful practices.
Because then you wouldn't need to exist.
No.
But sadly, and very sadly, you do.
Yes.
And thank goodness you do, because the difference you make around the interactions that you have, the events that you do. I mean, I've been very privileged to be able to, witness, you've invited me to things to come along to see the difference that you make, and especially sort of from the woman's side of it, because obviously, I always come at it from the women's angle. But I just wanted to speak a little bit about that journey that you've been on. So one of the things that have been the running theme through the podcast is the 4 pillars, which are network, information, money, and self-belief. So here we are, so this is your 16th year. In that space of time, which one, not just one, but which of those 4 resonates with you from, the experiences that you've had?
It's quite hard to separate them. I think they all mean something. And as I said, starting the organisation, money was an essence and essential for us to go on, and it did it a number of times. I think we're nearly thinking, well, I think people starting to give up on us because they tried to come to us and help, and we weren't able to provide as much as we wanted to, and they thought, okay, are you gonna exist or continues? And I think it's the other way, self-belief,
network, information, money, and self-belief.
So that's in terms of money. Networking and partnership, I think it's essential for us to make a change, because I can't do it on my own. No one can do it on their own. If we want to make a big change, or no matter how small, partnership and networking is essential to our everyday kind of work and life. And I think within my work, that the organisation that's definitely so important for us to work together and make that goal or that change. Even like, say for example, an individual who comes to us need help, we need the police, you need the social services, you need the education, because that helps us put a picture together of what the needs are, because we can't do it all ourselves. I think self-belief, through the work that I have done, I mean, I didn't do it on my own. I might started it, but the work it's done. We've done with so many people around me and alongside me. I can't climb it all by myself.
Every ship needs a captain. Because if it doesn't, it hits the rocks, it goes too far out to sea, it can't paddle. So, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yes.
But, you know, that there has to be, you know.
Yeah. So yes, I'm still building on my self-belief.
After all this time.
Yeah, I still sometimes feel like this is maybe not a dream.
One of the things that crystallises it for me is when you turn the whole of Liverpool and the major buildings in Liverpool orange.
Yeah.
Because I'm from the Wirral and I can look over and see it.
Yeah.
Now that is an achievement.
Yeah. So it is, and I mean, everything I do for me, no matter how big or no matter how small, is an achievement. And I am a young girl who come from Yemen, didn't speak English, didn't know the Western world, and you know, so many years later, I feel like Liverpool is my home. That where one then it wasn't, but I built it to kind of make my home and make those changes. And I think one of those, that is one of our biggest organisation achievement is we are in our fourth. It was our 40th, so this year is going to be our 5th year.
Wow.
Bringing that march into the city of Liverpool and walking in town in terms of raising awareness around the issues of honour-based abuse, which is the only kind of march that happen within the UK. So we're building on that. But
so when's that? Is that in?
So that is going to be in August this year. So building in August. But as well as that, now as mentioned earlier, we're trying to separate the way historically abuse has been seen as its culture, part of people's culture pattern, and we say no, there's no abuse can be with any culture. Is that we do the march, and then following the march is in the
bombed out
chairs. I nearly forgot it. The bombed out chairs. We hold the festival. So last year, part of our 15th year celebration, it was the first one.
Oh wow!
Yes, and the aim is that we do the march to raise awareness of honour-based abuse and harmful practices, and then we do the culture festival, which is bringing diversity of different cultures, different dances, food, celebration, and show what culture is all about. And
so
how
is that singing? Is it
both?
Is it art and culture? Is it?
It's using creativity. Okay. So we have dancing, we had poetry, we have like singing, and then activities during the day as well. So for it's a family gathering where celebration, and then we have food, information as well, and we feel that to try to let people say this is what culture. So when you say forced marriage or on a visit is part of somebody's culture, we say no, that doesn't tell you about it. So we're trying to kind of really educate people to separate what is culture and what is abuse.
So for that, do you need sponsorship?
Yes.
Do you need people to be part of it? Do you need ACT? Do you need people that are going to provide food? Could people buy a pitch? Do they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes to all those things. Sponsorship.
Yes to all those things. We actually are currently working on a sponsor pack, so that we can kind of share with people who might be interested to sponsor the the march or to sponsor the head sponsor or sponsor the festival or part of it, perform during the event as well. We run activities during the event, the day as well. So we went all whatever kind of activities, and we went like really kind of people from locally as well. So we really encouraged local communities to participate as well.
Because this is a celebration, isn't it? This
Yes,
is
the
this is the
celebration.
not looking at sort of like, you know, the dark side of like some of the things that do and can go on.
Yeah.
This is like a celebration, if you say, of culture and of like, you know, the things that the future that could take you out of, you know, some dark times. So it's like giving that celebration.
Yeah, I think it's talking about what culture is, and kind of trying to recognise and show them this is what culture is, whereas honour-based abuse and harmful practices is abuse, is safeguarding. If you see it, respond to it. Don't watch it and pretend, oh, it's not part of my belief or part of, I don't know, it's theirs and this is me. It should be everybody's responsibilities, regardless of who you are and what you are. Abuse is abuse. It doesn't just hold on in a particular group or particular community or particular religion. It can happen to anybody, and we need to work and end it for good.
But also celebrate it, as you say, from a cultural perspective. And Liverpool is it's a cultural melting pot, isn't it, for lots and lots of, you know, communities. I mean, you know, probably haven't got enough fingers and toes to count how many communities are here. So what's next for Savera UK? What is the next thing that's coming along? I know we've got the march, but
so in terms of activities, we have quite a lot. So our march is once a year. We are just launching our online shop.
Oh,
yes. So starting, I think, this week.
wow.
So the aim of the online shop is we are using co-producing with our survivors to do kind of messaging, cards, whatever it is that we'll use on cards, we'll use on another product to be able to kind of say, rather than us just designing cards and selling them. So we wanted this part of our engagement and part of our empowerment with our clients is to create some products and use them. And I think, remember some of the images that you use as part of one? Yeah. So we're using similar things.
Fabulous.
For our clients, and we'll be doing them for our online shop as well. And that's not to allow us that just not to kind of through to help us increase awareness as well as help our fundraising, but I think it's also engaging and giving that platform for our client and them seeing their work kind of being used and being kind of celebrated as well.
So I think that was 2023, I think. And that, funnily enough, because obviously, you know, I sit in front of sponsors because obviously, you know, Women of the Year need sponsorship. So I always take that brochure with me because I really did think, and it was really kind of the women to give us permission to use them. But that one for me was very, very special because it's lovely to see, but also to be able to celebrate the creativity and the journey. Because I think it was fabulous. It really was. It's one of my favourites.
And it's really important because I think people think survivors who's gone through abuse they're very vulnerable, weak, not able to do things. They're actually, for me, is the most strongest individuals and the brave individual you can have in front of you. And the creativity they have, the knowledge they have, and it's just so amazing and so powerful. And if we can, wherever, to work with them and support them to kind of really have that that opportunity to really work with us and make them part of the organisation, not just somebody that we support. Savera UK, regardless of if you are a client or if you are a staff member or a volunteer, we are a one family that have one goal and one aim, and that is to really end honour-based abuse and harmful practices for good.
But that's really lovely that they can then design something, make something, and if it can be sold.
Yeah.
And again, that gives it longevity and legacy.
Yeah.
You know, from sort of coming along to, I know you do some really powerful workshops and stuff, but that's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's absolutely, it just makes such a difference, doesn't it? And also, I'm assuming that it's again a good income stream.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. So we didn't want just to set up an online shop. We want to set an online shop with a meaningful behind it as well. And we thought that way is to work with our client and let them together could produce some stuff to put on online and stuff. So that's what the aim and the plan.
Because some of the things I've seen when I've come to the workshops and stuff, because obviously some of the funding's come through the Women's Fund through the Community Foundation, and obviously, you know, it fills up my love cup beyond anything. That sort of like, as Merseyside Women of the Year, we can contribute to the Women's Fund. But when I've come to see what the women have produced and been, you know, very honoured to be invited to come and see it, it's phenomenal. It really is. So if you can capture that, you know, and sort of, as you say, bring their culture and bring, you know, that diversity into it. What a great idea.
Yeah, so that's what we are like. So yeah, there's a number of things, and then community engagement is so important for us. So we're working through our Community Voices Hub, similar to the project that we've done funded by the Merseyside Women's Fund, is to continue that programme and support our communities and develop that programme. It was really interesting. We run a number of activities at the moment, and I went and visited them a couple of weeks ago. And there is women of all background, all kind of needs as well. And one was she has to understanding, they're deaf, and they were able to communicate just through art.
Oh, wow.
To be able to, even those, and then another one, they didn't speak the language, but they were able to communicate as well through art, and they became like really good kind of friends, and it just warms me. So it's like sometimes language doesn't necessarily mean speaking. It can be done just through, and that's why we find art and creativity is such a powerful thing to speak to anybody, regardless of what your abilities are.
And also I do think there's the power of women in a collective.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, not all women, but the majority of women, because we all know some mean girls, don't we?
Yeah.
But the majority of women, if you get a collective together, they all want to support and help. So that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to build is that kind of togetherness, to empower one another or support one another to really do good in our community.
It's fabulous, absolutely brilliant. So this is called the Crispy Ear Podcast. And the question that I've asked everybody as we've gone along is, if you had to go back and give your younger self a crispy ear, so that means sort of like, you know, just keep driving the message home until your ear goes crispy. I know, it's one of my isms, so yeah. What would it be?
Kind of thought that for a while. I think it's, for me, I used to be... Is that always the unknown? Growing up, and as I said, you know, coming here, not knowing where am I going to be, how am I going to do. Education is particularly cancer students, like one of my dreams to get to university. I didn't know if I was going to be able to. what my job will look like. Would I be able to have a house, to have a car, those kind of. So I always used to have these kind of thought in my head when I was younger. So if I go back and maybe just believe in myself and believe in the process and whatever comes to you, and nowadays rather than having most of the time worrying what my life would look like or what my life will be. So to just enjoy things that as they come.
But I think it's, it is hard, isn't it, when you're younger, because, and again, you're coming to a country you don't know.
Yeah.
As we spoke about before, couldn't speak the language, didn't know, but you were here. And I do think the universe has a funny place.
It does, I think.
Of putting you exactly where you need to be. Even though sometimes you don't think it.
Yeah.
It has that. If you'd have not gone through all that,
where would life experience,
and especially I'll say, we'll say in Liverpool, but I know it's UK. Where would we be without you? So there we go.
Yeah, that's true.
But
yeah, I think that's, and maybe the other one I would say is not to worry about what people say. I think there's that big part of me coming from always is like worrying about what people would say. Are you good? Are you not good? The way you dress, the way you look, the way you talk and stuff like that. And I think that's a lot of us kind of, and I think that's the area, some of the area that we work in is to try and work and really let individual believe in themselves and not to worry about what people think of them. And I think that was a big part of me trying to impress others rather than actually impressing yourself.
Do you know what? I'm going to leave it there. I could speak to you for another hour. So that is just a perfect message to end on. Afrah, thank you so much for your time and for coming today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And please, sponsorship, March, please get in touch. All the details will be on the bottom of the screen. So thank you so much, Afrah, for coming. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This has been Ellie Kerr, Crispy Ear Podcast. Thank you for listening and watching. Take care. Bye.